put yourself on megaphone. The stage is yours.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Nice and clear?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks Sam, I'm Robin and I'm Associate Professor here in Civil Engineering at James Cook University. And it's really good to follow on Joe's and Lynn's presentation, because what I'm going to talk about is really following their presentations. Joe's has already talked about what is plastics, and Lynn has already talked about if the plastics goes into the ocean, what can be the negative effects of it. So what I'm going to talk about with you is what we have been doing at JCU on how we can recycle the plastic and to produce something useful for us. So whenever we are talking about sustainability, the first thing that we need to prioritize is that we have to reduce the consumption of the material itself. So if we can reduce the use of the materials, we are producing less and less waste as well. For example, if we are using less plastic bags when we go for shopping, that means we are producing less plastic waste as well. So topmost priority is always to reduce the consumption, and after that it is always to reuse as well. So whenever we use something, not just we throw it out after the first use, we have to try and make sure that we are reusing it for a different purpose or for the same purpose as well. For example, whenever we go for a shopping, if we are recycling the plastic bag again to go for a shopping, or using a clothes bag, that's a reuse of the material, and that helps us on sustainability as well. And finally, there will always be some waste coming out from our living, and we have to prioritize on recycling those materials back into some useful form, so that we are not dumping all our waste into the landfill straight away. So always reduction is the first priority, reuse, and then recycle. Now when it comes to the plastic, what we have been doing so far is not very sustainable. So what we call it as a linear model. So what it means is that the plastics that we are using is mostly, we are producing the plastic from fossil foodstuff, as George mentioned, and then we are pretty much using it, and then once the life of the product is finished, what we do? We dump it. So that's what we call as a linear model. We produce it, we use it, and we dump it. And of course it is not a very sustainable or environmental friendly way, because it produces a lot of waste. Now, as Joe's already mentioned, we produce around 350 million tons of plastic every year around the world, and that is a lot of plastics. So, and unfortunately, we are able to recycle only around 5% of that 350 million tons. So rest of it lands up in our landfill, which eventually gets into the oceans in the form of microplastics, and fish eats it, and it causes lots of problems in the environment as well. So at James Cook University, we have been trying to do a research on trying to find a way of recycling a plastic in a different form, so that we can use it back, right? So what it is called as a circular economy. What it means is that instead of just producing, using, and dumping, what we are trying to do is we will, whenever there is a finishing of the life of the product, we try to recycle the product back into something else. Now, as George already mentioned, one way of recycling the plastic is to burn it and to recover the energy from it. And again, that's not very sustainable. Burning of the plastic produces lots of nasty gases as well. And another way of it is to convert it into the monomers, as George mentioned as well, and again use it into the production of the plastic itself. But other way of using a recycled plastic is actually to recycle it. Mechanical recycling is what we call it, and produce a different product, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about. I think the screens are not still working, so I cannot show you here. So probably I can show you a sample here. I don't know how much you can see it here. Can you see the small sample? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the plastic fibers that we produce from plastic waste. And these plastic wastes are coming from, guess what? They are coming from nappy industries. So whenever they produce the nappies, so they have lots of plastic waste. So we are recycling it to produce these plastic fibers. It's not used nappies. Don't worry, guys. They are waste from the industry, so it's not the dirty nappies. So we produce these plastic fibers, and these plastic fibers we are trying to use in a concrete like this one. So as you can see, this is a concrete sample. You know what concrete is? Yes?
Yep.
So we use a lot of concrete around the world. So what we are trying to do is, I'm not sure if you can see, there are some small fibers coming out of this concrete. So we are using those plastic fibers coming from the nappy industries into the concrete. And with this we can replace the steel in the concrete by using this plastic fiber. So now that's what is called as a circular economy. So we are producing the plastic, whatever comes from the waste, we are reusing back into the concrete, right? So not just going straight into the landfill, we are bringing it back and using it. So how we produce this recycled plastic fiber is what we call as melt spinning process. So we get the plastic waste from, say, nappy industries, and then we melt it into recycled plastic granules. We then pass it through the series of ovens and hot water and draw it into the long plastic fiber. Then we cut it into these short fibers like this one. And we just pretty much mix with the concrete and pour straight into the formwork there, right? So the advantage is that if we put the steel, we have to cut the steel, we have to put it, but these fibers we can put straight into the wherever you want it, straight mixing into concrete and put it there. So there is a great advantage because we are not wasting the plastic into the landfill, throwing the plastic into the landfill, but we are recycling back into the concrete. And it gives the better concrete, more stronger concrete as well. Now we have been trying this to use in a different parts of Australia, so it's already available in the market. So we have already used in the Science Place. You have been to Science Place, yes, last week? So just outside the big aquarium that you saw in the Science Place at James Cook University, in the footpaths we have used these plastics in that concrete, so that we use for the first time in there. Then after that we have used in many places. A lot of council use it in the bikeways,
That's pretty much what I just said.
footpaths,
Pretty much what
we have used it there.
Yeah, he's a mix of the water.
And also now interestingly,
You couldn't just mix with the concrete.
this recycled plastic is now going to be used in the underwater museum that is being constructed. So that will start in December. They are constructing an underwater museum where scuba diving can go into it and see the sculptures, and these are made of these plastic fibers as well, right? So you have number of uses right now. So for every plastics that we save, of course we are use in the concrete, we are saving the plastic that is going into the landfill. And also we have recently used it in the artificial reef that was dropped into the ocean near Townsville as well. So in the concrete, we are putting the plastic fiber, and that is being dropped into the into the ocean for making artificial reef. So that
minutes left in the lesson.
yeah, that's pretty much what I have to cover. So so it is one of the examples of how we can use the plastics, recycle it, and produce something what Joe's mentioned as upcycling. So we are producing something useful back from the plastic waste instead of putting it into the landfill. So there are other ways as well, but we have been trying this product, and so it has been now used in the market as well. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much, everyone.
No worries. Thank you very much, Associate Professor Robin. If you guys can give Associate Professor Robin a big laser show to say thank you for his presentation. I love this idea. And the fact that it's being used in towns like places like JC already is incredible to know that the research is already being put into practice. We've got a couple of minutes, Robin, if you would like to have a look in chat, there's a couple of questions. I'm not sure if you got to them already towards the bottom of the chat feed coming from our North Shore boys and from Ainsley from Willows. Well done, guys. So if you'd like to answer a couple of questions before we wrap up, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Yes, I saw a number of questions here. Let's go one by one here. So Ainsley, how did you experiment putting plastic in concrete? What we pretty much do is we produce this plastic fiber, we mix in the concrete, we cast a simple sample, and that's the fun part of my job. I get to break the things. So I make the concrete samples, we break it to find how strong are they. So we actually break them to find the strength. So I guess I answered your question there. Is it mixed with the dirt or water? So if you know, the concrete is a mix of cement. We put the cement, stone, water, and sand, and that's how concrete is mixed. And we put the steel in it as well. So instead of steel, we are using the plastic. So plastic, stone, cement, and water.